pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for forgiving us. Thank you for the blessings you bestowed upon this club, the opportunity that we have to give back to this community. I just pray for our first responders, that you'll keep them safe, and thankful for what they do for us each and every day. We're thankful for the opportunity this morning to come together, hear from three candidates willing to serve this community and our kids, and thankful for their willingness to do so. I just pray that you continue to bless us, guide, direct us, this club, and please bless the nurse and our lives. I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, be seated. So I know we do have three guests this morning. Any other guests this morning? Yes, sir.
Aaron Capps, he lives in Lake Highlands, and he has two kids, and I'm just coming by to say hi. Interesting fact about Aaron, he played college football at Louisiana Tech, and he tried out for the New York Giants. It didn't work out, so he fell back on becoming an attorney. So, please welcome Aaron.
Welcome back.
That's quite.
All right, any other guests this morning? Yes, sir.
Matt Sibley, he lives in LHE. He's got two kids. I don't have any great fun facts about it. Just good ones, so, hey.
Welcome, Matt. Yes, sir. So my mom's here. So welcome. All right, any other guests this morning? All right. Joe Parisi's got an event he wants to talk about real quick. So Joe, come on up.
Hey, Joe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for that thunderous applause this morning. I apologize in advance for any incoherent statements that come out of my mouth during this. I'm slightly sleep deprived, so I will let you know we are having an event. It's going to be awesome, and I know you all in this room are going to be in attendance. So just a quick reminder, benefit concert plus auction will be on May 21st at Gillies. We will have Jack Ingram there. So make sure that you get your tickets purchased. They are live. Like and share the Facebook event. It is on the Exchange Club Facebook page. Just want to make a general comment to all club members. There is a competition that I have running, and it is for the club member that promotes or gets the most purchasers to refer them. So there's a page when you click to purchase your tickets that says club member referred. Your name's on there the most. I may have a bottle of a certain type of spirit waiting for you. I will give you some more specifics on that. So there's a little bit of a carrot out there. So start letting your friends know, tell your neighbors, your mailman, teachers, whoever. Just tell them all they got to come down. So get those tickets purchased. We are still collecting silent live auctions and looking for sponsors. So it's not too late if you have some items that you wanted to donate, or you have friends or businesses in the area that would be willing to donate or would make great sponsors. So please reach out to me or anyone on the committee if you have anything in that regard. But we are so fired up for this event. It's going to be awesome. Make sure that you get those tickets purchased and just refer everyone. We want to have as many people in there as possible, and we want to have a great time, and obviously raise as much money for the club and our amazing Lake Highlands community. So thank you guys so much, and looking forward to a great program today. Thanks, Robert.
Yeah, so thanks Joe and to his committee, hard at work. So continue to promote, buy tickets, tell people, so we can have a great event there. One other event coming up, so 2 Thursdays, the 21st as well, April 21st. We are having a member event at OHB, kind of a member event, auction, spring benefit concert, kickoff preview. So please mark your calendars for, that'll be our Thursday night meeting, will be at OHB on the 21st, spring benefit kickoff event. Next week, Good Friday, no meeting. So do not come next Friday morning. There'll be no meeting next Friday. A couple other dates real quick. May 6th is our Youth of the Year. And then May 13th is our Scholarship Breakfast. So two fun events that we do as well. Councilman McGoo was here, had a couple things. Yes, sir.
So, good morning. This is really just a ask. Last week we had really the first time we've had a budget town hall meeting in early before the budget is completely cooked. And the representation from Lake Highlands was sad. We had a lot of people, several people there speaking, but not representing the interests of this community, Hamilton Park and Lake Highlands at all. And so the message that went back from our community, District 10, through the city managers and their office as they're preparing to do the budget was, hey, we're fine raising property taxes and we want to focus all of our energy on some specific plans that were specific interest to some of the folks. And so my ask is to please stay engaged. Now, there's several groups that step up all the time, and I'll always praise Mark Holmes. He's doing a lot of heavy lifting in a lot of those groups, but I really need help from this community to participate when we do have some of these meetings. And I try to put it all out there, but if you're not getting notice of them, please let me know or shoot me an email or something. And we just need some real engagement. It was a tough meeting to sit through, knowing that the city manager is taking some of this back as they're crafting budgets and listening to what was being talked about. And so that's my ask, that's my petition. So please stay engaged with us. Thanks.
All right, any other announcements? All right, with that, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to keep this very, very short. We're excited to have the RISD Place 7 Forum this morning. So before I introduce our candidates, I just want to say to the three of y'all, we'll be focusing now on distinctions of what makes you different and why we should support you. But I want to say first and foremost, thank you. Putting yourself out there in an election is not an easy thing, especially in the current climate that we're in right now. And y'all are doing that, and we really, really appreciate that. So without further ado, I'm going to ask y'all to sit in the order that it's on the ballot. I thought about doing a random number, but we're doing it this way. So Rachel McGowan, Kyle Brown, and Jan Still. Please come on up. And our moderator for this morning's fun. You may know him as the Glass Doctor. I know him as the man who successfully navigated Lisa Luby Ryan versus Jason D'Alba.
I'll be your timekeeper, so I've got a 30-second sign.
Okay. Got 5 minutes?
Exactly.
Yeah, if y'all didn't hear about that one, it was pretty rough, so I suggest you follow the rules. Glad y'all are here. It is place 5, by the way, just sorry. Yeah. Not everybody here is a graduate of Lake Highlands High School, and we have some Aggies, so if you could talk slow. All right. So I've got, hopefully we'll get through all 6 questions. We've got 6 questions for you. 5 of them are 2-minute responses. There's one that's pretty quick, a 1-minute response. We're not gonna have a closing statement because you're gonna have an opening statement. So we will end with the last question. Just asking that you answer the questions asked. We know people in politics tend to wander around, but I will somewhat forcefully say you're not answering the question, something like that. So don't go off on separate tangents. Okay, so we're going to rotate answers first. We'll start, Jan, with you down on the end here. So what are the major differences between you and your opponents that make you the right candidate for the community to trust with this role?
Hi, I'm Jan Still. I have a master's in education. I'm the only one on the platform that's actually worked in RISD as a teacher. I taught second grade at Skyview, and I also taught at Brentfield. So I think that differentiates me since we're looking for someone that wants to raise the academic standards in Lake Highlands District 5.
Wow, that was quick. All right, next. Kyle.
Good morning, Kyle Brown. I think some of the things that separate me with regards to roles within the governance roles in particular, and also the hiring roles associated with the Board of Trustees is as soon as my family and I moved here from Savannah after I got out of serving in the U.S. Army, was I was an executive recruiter for a number of years. So one of the first things we're going to have to do is hire a superintendent, and that's a big job. Some of the other work that I've done, volunteer work through Wilson Baptist Church, deals with governance of a multi-million-dollar organization, and it's executive, just like what we'll be doing as trustees for the district. And then also, I've had the privilege of working with a number of international companies and working to develop, implement, and negotiate the associated contracts, master supply agreements, and statements of work for some of the biggest companies in the world. And I think those are some of the, between hiring experience, governance, and working with a diverse group of people, equipped me with the skills to be your trustee for District 5.
I actually had an opening statement. I thought you just wanted a question. So when Rachel finishes, can I do my opening
You know, I
statement?
totally screwed that up, didn't I?
I followed directions.
That's good. We'll do that next, yeah. We'll open with a question and then we'll see. I mean, you did great. Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Exchange Club, for having us this morning. My name is Rachel McGowan. I am the only candidate here that has kiddos here in RISD. I have a 14-year-old who will be attending the Freshman Center at Lake Highlands High School. And I have a 20-year-old, who graduated from Lake Highlands in 2019. And I have a 3-year-old who is soon to be entering pre-K here, hopefully, or kindergarten. I am a graduate. Are we doing our opening statements now, or are we gonna come back around?
Just go and answer this
All
one
right.
and then I'll screw it up again.
Thank you. I am born and raised here in District 5. I grew up near the Lake Highlands YMCA, where it is now. I attended Stillshore Elementary, Forest Meadow Junior High, and graduated from Lake Highlands High School, as so my husband did as well. I have, again, my kiddos all went to RISD schools. And do we continue on about why we're running?
Now that I've made a hash of it, we'll go with the opening statements if you're okay.
Okay. I'm running for this seat because I am born and bred in Lake Highlands High School. I am a product of RISD schools. As some of you may know, I was married to Marcus Diggers. We had 2 beautiful kiddos here in this community. One we lost to a chronic disease about 10 years ago. Our kids attended Moss Haven Elementary Schools, and at that time, this community really held our family up. It really lifted our family up, and we learned a lot more about this community than we ever knew as kiddos growing up in RISD. Lake Highlands takes care of their own. We support our own people, and I am encouraged by the culture that is here and bred in Lake Highlands. That is why I'm running. I'm here to support our children, continue to uplift the children and families here in our communities, and make sure that our children do achieve higher excellence academic standards. And thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you so much to the Exchange Club for having us this morning. I'm Jan Estelle, and like I already told you, I have a master's in education and have taught in RISD. I remember when the principal brought me my 35th second grader, and I said, would you please bring me a set of books and a desk because I cannot find any. So you can tell that I've had boots on the ground experience. I've served on the YMCA board with Robert's dad, working to find the land, helping secure it, raise the funds for it, and get the doors open. I've also been a part of Leadership Dallas, and I've also worked at Prison Fellowship down at Seagoville Prison, going weekly for a Bible study for 4 years. I wanted you to know the reason that I'm running for trustee is when I found out that our third graders in the district have mastered reading and math to 31%. I was stunned. 31%? The rest of the third graders are needing some academic tutoring or lots of academic tutoring. So I went back in TEA's records. I went back 10 years, printed it all out, and have been looking at the statistics, and RISD academically has been struggling for the last 10 years. At present, we spend 25 minutes a day on non-academics, so at the end of the week, we've spent almost 2.5 hours not on reading and writing and the basics. Can we afford to do that? Can our teachers afford to do that? To think that over half of their students coming into their classroom are not at or approaching grade level. I'm very proud of RISD and its resources. The state asks the school districts to keep at least a 3-month minimum for their operating costs. RISD's always done better, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I want to be a part of a board.
Jan, I gotta stop you there to keep time. All right, sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Right, good morning. Thank you as well to the Exchange Club for hosting this and setting this up. I'm the son, grandson, and nephew of lifelong educators. I'm married to the horse whisperer of preschool teachers. You could say education is the family business, so to speak. I grew up in a super small town, Adrian, Texas, west of Amarillo, about 50 miles. After graduating my class of 6, went to West Point, graduated with a degree in Bachelor of Science in International Political Science and a minor in Systems Engineering. I was commissioned in the Field Artillery, which is a blast, by the way, if you ever get a chance to blow things up. It's a lot of fun, after serving with distinction in the same Rapid Deployment Division that had been commanded by folks like General Norman Schwarzkopf, General Barry McCaffrey, Lieutenant General and Brigade Combat Team commanded by Lieutenant General Russell Honore, some personalities you might have seen in the news over the years. We moved to Dallas, and Lake Highlands was attractive to us because of its diversity and because of its small town feel, much like what I grew up with. Over that time, we raised 3 kids through Lake Highlands. Our oldest, Chelsea, graduated in 2013. She was involved in cheer. She was an All-American high school cheerleader, cheered at Baylor. Our younger daughter, Allison, was involved in Highlandettes in varsity tennis. She double majored at Baylor in journalism and fashion merchandising. And she had the late David Wood. And she said, college was easier than David Wood's class. And then our son, who graduated in 2019, he was actually here almost 3 years ago, as the Exchange Club Student of the Year. He's at Villanova now, but in high school he played varsity tennis and baseball. And then he was also involved in the Esprit State Choir and also the Winter Musical. And I'm running the focus on education and support for our teachers.
All right, we're gonna get a little spicy here, guys. So, recently teachers were polled in RISD about some of their primary concerns. And at the junior high and high school level, discipline was listed as one of their top concerns, discipline in the classroom and in the school. What would you do to immediately address that issue for our teachers?
I get to go first.
You get to, sorry, no, I'm doing terrible, but you get what you pay for.
This is collaborative. I like that. So no, first side of a business for that is to hire a great superintendent that's right for Richardson ISD. And I think a lot of what happens in the classroom trickles down from the leader on board. And so some of the things that I'm looking for in the next leader is someone who has a great experience of raising the bar academically across the board. Someone who has a passion for teachers and teaching, who understands what it is to deal with some of the challenges in the classroom and can help equip teachers to handle those. Someone that also has developed a culture of enthusiasm, joy, if you will, and also professionalism within the teaching corps, within the faculty, that gives them support when they first come to the district and provides them a path, a career path in which they can flourish throughout their career. Getting back to the specifics, to also help answer the specifics of your question, discipline in the classroom in a functionary and a value way addresses safety in the classroom. And that's non-negotiable. Kids can't learn when they're afraid. Teachers can't teach when there's disruption. And so that really follows that principle and that value when you look at, here's why we've got to have discipline in the classroom. Rachel, you're next.
Yes. Okay, so I think parental involvement in our schools is a critical piece and aspect that we need to really hone in on. I think parents should be held accountable for disciplinary actions in our schools, and we need to hold our children accountable for disciplinary actions. I don't think teachers should have to handle, if they have enough on their plate. They are not here to parent our kids, and that should not be their number one focus in the classrooms. We do have to hire a superintendent that knows the culture of our school district. Data is very important. We need to look at the data and study the points of what is happening in our classrooms, where are these disciplinary occurrences, and what is causing these things. And we need to really deal with the root of the issue and kind of dive a little deeper into those and try to solve those issues.
Thank you, Jen.
He's right, discipline is real important. We realize that the teacher cannot handle 20 or 30 students and take care of academics and be the policeman, but the classroom must be a safe place. They must feel the support and have the support. I know in all of the schools that ends up being the role of the principal and the vice principals and so forth. So we need to have strong educators and those that are understanding of what the culture is in our ISD, but willing to step up to the plate, meeting with the teachers to help them, because that is a problem.
Okay, so this one, let's see if I get this right. Rachel. All right, you're gonna go. Okay. So one of the roles of the trustee is helping the district set its policy priorities. What's the one policy that you most want to fight for in the district?
Two things.
That was one.
One.
You can do two if you have time.
Right, so really quick. Two things are our teachers' salaries and pay increases. I want to be an advocate for our teachers, number one, and take care. I believe we take care of our own people. They will take care of us. And benefits. The benefits package for our teachers is critical. It's critical in retention, and it's critical in attracting new hires. So, two things.
It's kind of one, but yeah, we'll be.
Rachel, yeah. No, what policy would we want to focus on with this? And really not running to set new policy, but the urgency around teacher retention is real, and recruitment as well. And so there's an area where we can focus on what we can change. Getting more money from the state depends on the average daily attendance. That's something that we can work to keep kids in school. We're about 2,000 kids short after the pandemic. I'm assuming we're out of the pandemic. I pray that we stay out of the pandemic. So we're about 2,000 kids short. That's about $13 million a year that we've got to figure out where to account for. So to get more income to the district, we need more kids. The way to fix what we need to do with regards to the teacher attainment is the policies. And that's an area where we can influence that and help create. And some of the things that Chris and the board are doing right now are around creating a culture where teachers want to stay, teachers want to come to work in. And that's where we can focus on things like, from a policy standpoint, childcare, better benefits, an environment where they can possibly do, share a seat with their role in the district with another teacher after being at home for the last 2 years and realizing that having some kind of work share program might be around. So there are a couple of things from a policy standpoint that we can focus on to help keep our teachers where they are and to recruit new ones.
18% of our teachers are leaving our ISD in a year, and that is a staggering number. Our cost, we're at $500 million in our budget, and I know that a 1% raise for the teachers is $3 million. I think we need to really relook at our monies, because money talks. Our neighboring school districts are paying our teachers more. So, I think my mic went out. Anyway, so I guess it's going in and out. So I think whether we can be cheerleaders for them, I think they need to feel more as the top of our community, because they are the ones that are boots on the ground, touching our children every day. I know when I did my master's thesis, I can remember back thinking, what helps a child learn to read? And it's because they liked their teacher. It didn't have to do that they were a top rocket scientist, but they liked their teacher. So we need to love our teachers and let them know that, whether that's in benefits. They've talked about child care. There's lots of different ways that we can let them know they're loved and appreciated, so that then our children will love to read and do their math.
Did we all get that one? Yeah. All right, good. Okay, here's a quick hit. This is our real quickie. So, y'all had to turn in a finance statement, I think yesterday. Did everybody get that done? All right, good. Top 3 donors. Go.
Whitney Hurwitz, Palmer Pharmacy, and John Monroe.
Awesome. Good memory. Next.
Kathy and Rob Stewart, Justin Bono, and John Roper.
Billy Dorsey, Brian Stone, Kathy and Rob Stewart, and others.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so you guys, whoever gets this has got to help hire a superintendent. That's a big deal coming up. So Kyle, I think we started with you on a question. I don't know. Maybe we have. Maybe we have.
That's okay.
We'll go Kyle, Rachel, Jan. I'm going to try to keep this orderly.
Great.
What should we be looking? What will you be looking for in that superintendent that we hire?
Right. Well, this is such a big priority for us that I've already mentioned it to a certain degree. But someone who has experience of raising the academic bar across the board, who can demonstrate that, someone who's helped develop a culture of professionalism and joy for teachers to help them develop their careers, but also have a place for them to stay and flourish. And then also someone who's got experience within an economically and racially diverse district. Obviously someone who has a passion for kids and for teaching kids. It's kind of a non, that's table stakes, right, in your superintendent, hopefully. And then someone who, those are the 3-4 things that are key to what we can do. And there's so many things with regards to focus on education, with regards to taking care of teachers and the support that our teachers need, that are really tied up in that one position. And currently, it's very much like these college basketball teams, right? Where the coach leaves, and then pretty soon all your scholarship players hit the transfer portal, and all of your recruits are scattering to other places. I think it's key for us to focus on this next position, and to make sure we get the best candidate or the best superintendent for RSD.
Rachel.
Excellent communicator, someone who knows the culture of RSD, truly knows our culture and is familiar with demographics here and knows what they're kind of getting themselves into, and someone who knows public school finance and is very savvy on the financial piece of public school education.
Great. Jen.
I would be looking for a superintendent that would be excited to be in our community, a superintendent that will be glad that we are financially solvent, but that is up to the academic challenge of our diverse community. 57% of our children are economically disadvantaged, so that creates its own challenge. But poor children can learn too. I mean, why would we think otherwise? The superintendent, I think we're wanting and needing more transparency, whether it be in the programs that we have, the transparency in where the money is spent and where the time is spent. We want that to be a position where we take care of our superintendent and they're not beat on. We realize this has become pretty much a football game that shouldn't be. Education should be about reading, writing, and getting our students ready for the new world out there. Dallas-Fort Worth is the third largest metropolitan area in the United States. We will have jobs aplenty if our children have talent, whether they're a plumber making $100,000 a year, whatever they're doing. If they're the CFO, we will have the jobs in Dallas-Fort Worth. So we should have students that are coming out that the employers cannot wait to get their hands on an RISD graduate, whether it's after high school, after trade school, or after college. We have a win-win situation. We have a healthy environment in our city for working and entrepreneurs. Let's do it, RISD, and make it the blue ribbon school that we expect it to be.
All right, Rachel, we'll start with you on this one. So, money's always an issue, revenue. Will you vote to raise taxes in the district as a revenue source, or do you have specific ideas to make the district's dollar go farther?
I'm a homeowner in this community. I am an advocate. I would not advocate to raise taxes. Listening to the last board meeting that we had in March, it's apparent that, and I'm not an expert in school finance, but it is apparent that raising our taxes or our tax rate is not going to help with school finance or increase school finance for the district as a whole. The only thing that's going to truly help get more money to fund our public school is to increase the number of bodies that are sitting in the seats, because that's how we are financed by the state. I am willing to advocate at the state level as a board of trustee to build bridges between the school district and the state level, and maybe even the federal level, if that is what is required in order to generate more finance for public school.
Jan?
The CFO said that we have 28% of our taxpayers that are over 65, which of course caps the money. He says that's more than most districts. We're dealing with a $500 million budget. There's lots of places that money goes, but just like your home and my home, we have to decide where we're going to spend our money and get the best value for it. Our tax rates are at 1.4. I don't think they need to go any higher, or we may have some people that leave the district and go other directions because of that, because that does affect their weekly and monthly output. Hopefully within $500 million, we can figure out how to educate 37,600 students. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of responsibility, but it can be done.
Well, the good news is your home values have appreciated the last couple of years. The other good news of that is that the tax rate has actually gone down to 1.0409% per thousand. So congratulations, even though your tax bill is probably higher than it was 2 or 3 years ago. We're not raising taxes. We're capped with that regards. We need more students in our schools from an average daily attendance standpoint for us to bring in more revenue. And then we need to work creatively with our state legislators to make sure that the way Austin is financing our teachers and supporting our schools, is able to evolve with where we all are in our current status in Dallas.
So we've actually gotten through our questions, but because y'all have done a great job. So thank you. Well, I got better as it went on. So I'm going to throw one more in here based on what y'all have been discussing. So student attendance. So private schools in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in the Lake Collins area, record numbers of kids that are applying to private schools, fleeing, not just Lake Collins, not just Richardson, but other districts in the area. Y'all are mentioning that we're 2,000 students short. I know at the elementary school level, we have some elementary schools that are really only half full, and then we got some that are running over. So what do you think is driving people out of the district? What do you think we need to do as a district to bring people back in? Specific policies. And Jan, we start with you.
It's all about academics. If they feel like their children is getting their 6.5 or 7 hours worth of learning, they're happy. If they do not, they'll pull their children. We've watched parents, and I've talked to parents where they've gotten together and hired tutors, and they're either homeschooling and or putting them in private school. That breaks my heart. Your school is your soul of your community. We all know schools where none of the homeowners in the area supported, and there's not a soul in that school. We rally around the academics, the football, the soccer, the esprit, and all those things. But if our homeowners that live, whether they're in apartments or whether they're in actual physical homes, do not support the school, our soul dies. So we've got to make sure from the board level down that we begin to put academics back as our main thrust. Again, supporting our teachers. And it will trickle down, but we've got to start at the top. That's where the snow starts and melts. To fund the schools, to fund the teachers, not just programs. I mean, we can all have iPads, but that's not what learning's about. It's the touch of a teacher. I've got a friend that's with the ESSER money is teaching, and she's got in a class with a room with a teacher that says, I've got students on a 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade level. I've got to have help. And those children are so excited to come to my friend and be with her one-on-one or one-on-3 to work on their math facts. That's where we've got to go. We've got to help bring our children up so that some of our families don't line up at the nearest private school or line up with the tutors and do the homeschooling. Stop.
Now, our public schools are the vanguard of our democracy, and so to ensure that those public schools stay strong is vital, right? We've lost almost 2,000 students post-pandemic in our own district. We aren't sure where they've all gone. Some of them have gone to private schools, some of them have stayed at home in homeschool programs, and some of them have just vanished. Statewide, our school attendance is down 160,000 across the state. That's a city, 160,000. And no one really knows where all of them have gone. We do have to stay competitive versus other options for parents. And part of that is continuing to communicate effectively the great kids that we have in our district. You guys see them every month when they come in here as students of the month, right? But we've got to advertise that if you want your son or daughter to be all they can be, that we have kids going to Northwestern and Notre Dame and Vanderbilt and Princeton and Yale and the U.S. Military Academy, U.S. Air Force Academy. We have amazing kids accomplishing great things every day, and we've got to advertise that. And these schools are looking for people who have a profile of coming from and being involved and being leaders in public school. We've got to advertise that effectively, and I think that will help. And if people understand the product and what they get out of it, then hopefully they'll come around to the point of saying, hey, look, once things settle down next fall, to come back to good old RSD schools.
Can you repeat the question?
I was listening to this fabulous, what do we need to do? All these fabulous answers. A lot of kids with record attendance or applications to private schools. What do we need to do to bring those kids back into the district? Not just private, but moving around.
Right. I think we need to study the data closely and see if we can trace where our kiddos are going and why. According to the last board meeting, it appears that we are losing and we've lost, majority of the children that we've lost in our district are from our multifamily communities. And I think we may need to work a little more closely with those communities and the companies, the owners of these communities, and see where we can kind of bridge the gap and open and broaden the communication spectrum there. I work for a company that focuses on multifamily communities, and we advocate at Texas Department Association. So I hope that maybe I can use some of that expertise and advocate at the state level and see if we can generate some of that activity back and see how we can attract those families with kiddos back to our district.
All right, quick hit, last one. All right. Who did the first? We ended with you, so it must be you now. All right. I'm terrible. I'm giving these Aggies garbage and I do look good, thank you, I appreciate that. Mrs. Patterson thinks so too. All right, quick hit. Cell phones in the classroom, yes or no?
Yes, with some adult supervision. I teach junior high Sunday school at Wilshire Baptist Church. I have for 17 years, and it was a little newer for 7th graders to have cell phones 17 years ago. Today, it's the norm, right? And for a kid not to have a cell phone is really a little bit strange at this stage. But initially, we put them all in the center of the room and said, hey, hands off. And eventually we realized that, hey, every kid has a Bible app on their phone, for real. And you can tell if they're looking at their Bible app or if they're playing a game or texting their buddies. It's pretty clear by just the engagement in the kid. So for us to take away this powerful tool that we all use all day, every day, right? For better or for worse, depending on how our discipline is around that and the rest of what we do, whether it be job, family, etc. To be able to take that tool away is really, it's taking a source of what they can use in the real world. And so from that respect, we're kind of like, let's keep it, but let's ensure we're also teaching responsibility about how to use it and when to use it.
Rachel.
Cell phones in classroom put away. Our policies in our schools are that the cell phones will be taken away if the teachers find them out. So I do agree with that policy. Cell phones say put away, but yes, I do think that it's okay to keep those on the kiddos for emergency purposes.
Jan.
Cell phones, yes, but turned off and not away so they're not a distraction, because we all know when we see someone with a cell phone, all they do is want to look at it, so it needs to be off.
Just look at this crowd. All right. Jan, Kyle, Rachel, thank you so much for coming out and being here.
Am I going to do closing statements?
No, that was one thing I said at the beginning, I remember.
Yes, thanks again to Jan, Kyle, and Rachel for being here this morning, your willingness to throw your hat into this very important election and time for RSD. Lance, thank you for, thank you for moderating, appreciate it very much. I mean, Larry, sorry, I'm looking at another note. Thank you, Larry. Aaron and Matt, and of course my mom, welcome anytime. Thank you all for being here this morning. So just a reminder, no meeting next week. Enjoy your Easter weekend. For those with kiddos, enjoy your 4-day weekend. Any other closing remarks I forgot about? All right, we are adjourned. Have a great weekend.